Welcome to Auto Transmission, the podcast from Auto Repair Focus. I'm Phil Curry, bringing you a mix of news, opinion and interview from around the UK automotive aftermarket. In this episode, the latest news, thoughts on the MOT, especially after two massive government announcements that seem to corroborate the importance of it without discussing anything about pricing. I am, of course, talking about the MOT photo requirement and EVED. Plus, I caught up with FixMyCar's Matt Wrankmore towards the end of his epic journey from north to south across the country, visiting garages and spreading the message of FixMyCar and the benefits of the platform. It's a great listen. Stay tuned for that. First, however, as always with Auto Transmission, we'll dive into the news.
As of the 3rd of August, the DVSA is rolling out the first phase of the photo at MOT requirement, with 2,500 garages expected to see the option on their testing service. Following trials last year, the MOT photo requirement proved to be a successful addition to the test. The rollout will be phased to ensure that the DVSA can monitor the service, see how the feature is being used and minimise disruption to workshops. Testers can either use a mobile device to register the vehicle, take a photo and complete the test, or the MOT can be started on a desktop computer with testers scanning a QR code with a mobile device to take and upload a photo. At present, taking and uploading photos will be optional. Garages can continue without taking a picture by selecting the most appropriate reason within the testing service. However, its use is strongly encouraged should the service become mandatory in the future. The government has confirmed that pay-per-mile charging, known as EVED for battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids, will come into force during 2028. However, cars under 3 years old will not be required to attend MOT stations for verification, removing a potential increase in complexity for workshops. The official response to the government consultation indicated that EVED will come into effect in April 2028. From that point onwards, BEV drivers will need to pay 3p per mile, while PHEV owners will pay 1.5 pence per mile. This will be introduced to mitigate the loss in fuel duty that is expected to be felt as BEVs and PHEVs increase in popularity. When first announced, the government proposed that mileage checks could take place during a vehicle's MOT. If the car was under 3 years old, they may be required to attend a workshop annually to have their mileage verified. However, the consultation response now states that this proposal will be dropped. The system will instead rely on motorists providing accurate mileage estimates, supported by clear guidance and tools, with reconciliation taking place against verified mileage data at the first MOT. Industry charity Ben is inviting the automotive community to kick off the new Premier League football season by taking part in its new Fantasy Football League 2026-27, sponsored by Pagid and Varta, with more than £1,000 in cash to be won. As part of Do It for Ben, the new league is open to everyone, from seasoned football fans to complete beginners, with players competing through the official Fantasy Premier League platform. For a minimum £5 one-off entry fee, participants have the chance to win up to £500 for first place at the end of the season, with £50 being offered to monthly winners. Joining Ben's Fantasy Football League is a fun way for automotive people to compete with colleagues across the industry and beyond, while raising vital funds to support those facing life's toughest challenges. You can join the league by visiting www.ben.org.uk/FF2627. A new survey has revealed the key areas that garages can build trust and loyalty with their customers, alongside the situations that can erode it. The study from TempCover has found that a garage's ability to communicate mechanical faults clearly and transparently is vital to build trust and secure job approvals. The study revealed that trusting a mechanic's repair recommendation comes down to two primary pillars: historical loyalty and upfront transparency. While 54% of trusting motorists cited having used the same garage for years, 44% said transparency regarding repair costs was an equally important factor, whilst 42% added that clear, detailed explanation of the mechanical fault was vital in building trust. You can find out more of the latest industry news at autorepairfocus.com. Don't forget to check out our social media channels, including LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram and Facebook. Simply search for Auto Repair Focus. And also subscribe to the Insight newsletter, keeping you up to date with everything going on in the automotive aftermarket.
Now, two stories in the news in this episode highlight the importance of the MOT, and it really seems to me that the government is confirming that the MOT is a crucial part of automotive ownership, whether it's a car or a van. The fact is, the MOT is essential. Now, we already know it's essential because obviously every car that is 3 years old or more has to go through it on an annual basis. It's crucial for road safety. And there's been so many challenges to the MOT over recent years that the aftermarket has really championed its corner. So with that in mind, highlighting how important the MOT is, why hasn't the price gone up? Why hasn't the price changed since 2010? The cost of living has changed. Inflation has changed. Prices have gone up all over the place. And paying vehicle excise duty, or VED, and I'll come to that in a minute, has increased. And many different bans have been introduced. Paying insurance has increased. Motorists are used to rising costs. Just look at petrol, for example, even though that's not government related. And actually, that's one area the government's helping out with the 5p cut in fuel duty. But again, there's a point I'll come on to in a minute. The fact is that the MOT price needs to be reviewed. £54.85 worked in 2010. It worked in 2015. It doesn't work today. And we've been through multiple different cabinets and now a new party in place and a second Prime Minister in terms of them. The IGA is calling on Andy Burnham to do something about the MOT price. Interestingly, there are two different points on the MOT price. The Independent Garage Association, the IGA, says that the cost cap needs to increase. It needs to go up. Garages need to be allowed to charge more for the MOT. The IAAF says that the £54.85 should become the minimum payment. So garages can't charge below that, but they can charge higher. Whichever way you look at it, and both arguments are absolutely valid, the MOT definitely needs a price review. It's incredible that it's been 16 years and something the government dictates price on hasn't changed. And for the aftermarket, the MOT has always been challenged. There's been pushes for 411, 422, and every time the aftermarket fights back and wins against those proposals. Now, we all do it in the name of road safety, and it is all about road safety. The UK has some of the safest roads in Europe. Obviously, if we go to a 422 system, there is going to be a financial penalty for garages as well because the income won't be coming in there. But now the financial penalty is being felt by garages because the prices haven't gone up and garages are having to pay more. They're having to pay more for wages, pay more for electricity costs, pay more for ground rent, pay more for supplies. Those costs all go up and the MOT stays exactly the same. In fact, Ian Willis, Managing Director at the Test Centre, nothing but MOTs. Now, these guys I've filmed a few pieces with in the past, and if you've seen our MOT feature, if you haven't, YouTube. Search for Auto Repair Focus on YouTube, search for the MOT feature, and while you're there, like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you stay up to date with every single video we put out. But the Test Centre, nothing but MOTs. The Test Centre, that's all they do is MOT. So, of course, they're feeling the pinch more than most garages in the country. And Ian has written to the IMI calling for leadership in the future of the UK's MOT scheme. He's highlighted that costs have increased in national living wage and staff salaries, employer national insurance contributions, business rates, rent and property costs, electricity and utilities, insurance, equipment maintenance and calibration, software and IT systems, IMI qualifications and ongoing training, and DVSA compliance requirements. They're having to pay all of this out, and yet the MOT price remains the same. And as Ian says here, an MOT is not a service and it is not a repair. It is an independent road safety and environmental inspection designed to establish whether a vehicle meets the minimum legal standard required to be used on the public highway. So therefore, the statutory MOT fee should reflect the true cost of carrying out the inspection itself, and it doesn't. An MOT takes, 45 minutes to an hour to complete. I would love to know your labour rates and how that compares to the MOT price. And again, drop me a line, phil@autorepairfocus.com. This discussion could go on for ages, but I do have a key point to make. The DVSA has now introduced the photo requirement. That mandates that, it doesn't mandate yet, it's an optional addition at the moment as they get ready to possibly roll it out for mandatory. But that says that when a car is presented for an MOT, the tester must take a photograph of it and upload it to the testing system to prove that the car is present. So that means that the DVSA recognises the increase in ghost MOTs, where drivers are just buying a pass and then driving potentially illegal cars on the road for 12 months, maybe even more if they buy another ghost MOT and keep going on. And I did see a car the other day which definitely did not have an MOT, even though I did double check and it had passed a couple of months ago when the front wheel was wobbling all over the place. But that mandates that the MOT is important. The DVSA recognises that the MOT is important. And then on top of that, we've got EVED, electric vehicle excise duty, where drivers are going to be doing pay per mile. Now, thankfully, garages aren't going to have to check the mileage on a vehicle every year. That was originally the plan under Rachel Reeves, but the consultation has wiped that out. Instead, drivers will have to self-regulate themselves for 2 years, and then when the vehicle is presented for the MOT, that's when the DVLA will look at the data and know whether to charge the right amount for drivers. Now, again, that opens up all sorts of questions around odometer resetting and all of that, which I'm not going to go into. But the point is, again, the government has realised that the MOT is going to play a key part in EVED. So the government has recognised in 2 big news stories that the MOT is vital for road safety and it's going to be vital for charging electric vehicle drivers the right amount of pay per mile EVED going forwards. So if the government has recognised that the MOT is important, why are they not looking at the cost? Why are they, at the moment, ignoring calls from the IGA and the IAAF and everybody else who is saying that the cost of living, costs of running a business have gone up and up and up over 16 years, but the MOT fee, which many, many garages rely on, some is their only source of income, is not actually fit for purpose at the moment and needs to be reviewed. Again, I really would love your thoughts on this. It really does bug me, to be honest. I'm sure you can tell. So please drop me your thoughts. phil@autorepairfocus.com. I'll read the best ones out in the next episode. If you want to jump on a call with me, again, offer your services, we'll sort out a Teams call and we can have a proper chat. This is your podcast. As garage owners and technicians, I really welcome your views. So let me know, should the MOT price change? What do you think? Have the government backed themselves into a corner by saying how important the MOT is? And what should they be doing next? I've just driven 30 miles to be here at Aids Auto Repairs in London on what is possibly the hottest day of the year so far. So we're going through a June heatwave. But that pales into insignificance when you consider what Matt Wrankmore from FixMyCar has been doing. He's travelled the length of the country in 3 days, visiting 16 garages in what has been sweltering conditions, all to talk to workshops about the FixMyCar platform, find out more about them, and engage in a way that the company hasn't done before. And I'm here to catch up with him on the last leg of his journey. So Matt, I mean, the first question I've got to ask is why?
I feel that's such an easy one for us. So since becoming a director of FixMyCar in April, and with the other two, we decided that we really wanted to get back to our roots, and our roots being our garages. Our garages are our biggest customer. Without them, we don't really have much of a business. So my background is all automotive and has been for many years. But what I really enjoy is actually spending time in the garages and listening to them, because they are what feed the decisions that we make, but also they give us much more insight than we can ever get from just over the phone. So coming and doing a visit face to face is much more valuable. The industry changes so much that we need to keep on top of it, and getting close to our customers is the only way to do that.
So I mean, it's quite a challenge, isn't it, to undertake? You're basically doing the length of the country pretty much. What were your first thoughts when you came up with the idea? Because I mean that is quite the undertaking.
So I suppose the first thought for me really was it's going to be hard work. 100%. We were under no illusion that it was going to be a bit of a task. But from our side, we wanted to get some of the biggest engagement we could, and to do that, you have to make it big, right? And there's no bigger sort of way to do it than try to travel the length of the country and cover as many different areas as possible, and to shout about it, because actually that's, getting closer, like we said, is a really big thing to do. But it's so important because of all the decisions that we can do from the conversations that we're having.
And I mean, it really does sort of back up the whole sort of idea of getting out and seeing the garages, like you said. And you've also, I've got to address it. You started this. I'm sure you weren't planning for this weather, but here we are. How's the conditions been? Because obviously you've covered, like you said yourself, you've covered over sort of about 1,600 miles. Is your aircon working?
My aircon is working. So actually, one of the first videos I did was making sure I had a full range of blower controls on the van, because the resistor pack had gone. So I had either 0 or 4, because I knew this week was meant to be a bit warm. Obviously, yes, we did not plan to do it on a week where we've had probably some of the warmest weather. But I am very fortunate the aircon in the van works very well. I've only really noticed it when I've had to get out and see garages. But again, fortunate that I've been in the van quite a lot and kept cool. So it's made it a little bit more difficult. But on the other side, I've got a little fridge in there. I've got all my drinks. I've stayed hydrated. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
And in terms of the garages you visited, I mean, how have they all been? Been welcoming? You've had some really good conversations with them?
Honestly, the garage has been absolutely fantastic. Every single garage that I visited has given me something slightly different. But I suppose to take one takeaway from it is that garages that are not staying still, that's the big thing. Being proactive about where they reinvest their money, about diversifying into different automotive parts, whether it will be car sales, whether it's EV, training, part sales and distribution. They're all doing something different, because just doing the garage thing sometimes just isn't enough. What I've realised is that there's so many entrepreneurs within the garage industry that they're so driven by their passion of cars and vans that they're just enveloping everything they can to allow them to just continue on in this industry. And it just shows you the strength and the resilience of the garage owners. I am, this industry for me is probably the only industry I ever want to be in, if I'm honest with you. This is so interesting, so diverse, so inspiring that I want to just keep on doing it. And I can feel that from everyone I've visited. They've offered me drinks, they've offered for me to stay near them, go out in the evening. It's been, honestly, it's like family. They've been absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it really does at the moment feel like a big community, the aftermarket. I mean, I've been in it, I've been reporting on it for years now, and I've never known this sort of form of togetherness. I'm guessing you're seeing that by not just these conversations that you're having, but I mean also things like, the FixMyCar awards from last year, the constant engagement that you guys do with garages. And it must be seeing some really sort of, positive stories coming out of all of that.
I think you hit the nail on the head, really. The community side of things is really where I've seen probably one of the biggest differences. The amount of garages that are talking to each other, they're not standalone anymore. If a garage up the road does tyres and they don't, they help support that garage, and vice versa. If that garage up the road does fast fit and someone comes in asking about a timing chain, then they'll push them towards a garage that does do that. It seems much more community-led than it's ever has before, and much different to when I was in it, maybe sort of 10 years ago, where you were very much, everyone was out for themselves. I think social media's really helped. I think even from the engagement we've had on our own social media, from Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and seeing how people want visits, how they want to be, how they want to be told about the up and coming things that are happening in the industry. One of the reasons for doing what I've done above, obviously visiting, is to showcase those garages. So I've done some videos with them because not everyone knows everything that they do. I visited one garage that said that they're doing a little bit of work through different platforms and all that sort of stuff. But I said, one of the things that I've always done from working in garages is you need to find your own USP, because find out what makes you different to the others. And then I noticed in his workshop that he had Polaris 4x4s, he had motocross bikes, he was fitting a diesel heater into a transporter van. And I said, do you advertise that you do any of this kind of work for anyone? And he was like, no. I said, well, that is your USP. Not everyone does those types of things. And it's good to to showcase what you do. And we can help with that. That's what we're here to do. So, yeah, it's good.
Because, I mean, it's so important these days, isn't it? It's always said about social media, but also, I mean, the whole digital footprint that workshops need these days. Because, I mean, it used to be the case, isn't it, that you just picked up a phone book and scrolled through all the yellow pages. Other directories are probably available somewhere. But today, it's just as much doing a Google search, doing what's available in my area kind of thing. And, having that presence. And for a lot of garages, it can be challenging. But I'm guessing that's where, FixMyCar comes in to try and sort of help just put them on the map and also give them more work, more opportunity to sort of pick up work from people who are just generally looking for it.
Yeah, I think there's still some challenges in the industry. I think that there are some bits around garage management systems, being more efficient with the way in which we book jobs, but equally understanding how that social media presence can help them, and how platforms like us can really support additional work that comes into the platform, but also to give drivers awareness of where these people are. Like you said, Google was a great example of that, and it can help, but it doesn't always help with pushing a job into a garage or letting a driver know the price, the availability of that garage, all those sorts of things. Our platform is very good at trying to tailor the driver directly to the garage, because not every driver needs the same. So you need to tailor it to the garage's capabilities. If you don't get that right, it doesn't work. They need to mesh.
So, I mean, apart from the obvious answer, which is the garages, what have been some of the highlights of your trip across the country so far?
The people, 100% the highlight. Every single time that I visit people, when you get that face-to-face interaction, something changes. The next phone call you make, the next time you speak to them, maybe on Teams, the next email you send is different because you've had that one-to-one interaction with people. They recognise your face. They remember the visit that you've made. That was probably one of the biggest highlights. The other thing is some of the routes that I've taken. Some of the routes have been so scenic, so beautiful that I'll be honest with you, I can't wait to go back and visit and take my family with me. You know, it can get a bit lonely in the van, so I make a lot of videos as people will see. And those videos can go from anything from me just explaining that I'm going on to a next visit to singing a song in the car. And I think it's not a road trip if you don't have a singing at the top of your voice, right?
True, very true.
Regardless of whether I can sing or not, it makes a difference. I think it's important to have fun on doing these sort of things, and it's fun visiting garages, and road trips can be fun. I've had my snacks and I've had my drinks and kind of have my music and to share my experience with social media has been brilliant.
And what's next for FixMyCar? As you said, it's new management, new times. What's coming next?
Yeah, so we have got some plans changed, and we want to really support the garages that have supported us. So our model will really represent that. So we've made a couple of changes recently that we will keep in place, but there'll be some additional benefits that come alongside that. So I suppose it's a case of watch this space for those. We've got in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to share more detail with people, but will be all about rewarding those garages that are supporting us. So it become way more of a partnership. You'll see us much more involved in the social media side of things and visiting more garages. I'd like to do more of this sort of stuff, but probably some longer videos where we're really showcasing that garage. There's a garage I visited called Town Garage in Wales. Like I said, I'd need a full day just to show you what they're doing right now. It's a third generation garage. They are the most lovely people that I've met. They've turned a pub into a reception area, and it's all been redone, and it's classy. It's like a dealership in there, but still independent enough that you feel welcomed and it's homely. So yeah, I'd like to do more of that, but it would all be around that support. Working with new partners to help, whether it be garage management, whether it be funding, whether it be tools and equipment, training, all of those things. It'd be more about, again, pushing that community picture that we're seeing to be more than just a work provider, but offer way more in terms of value to the garages. And that will be our drive and our passion.
And lastly, this is your last day on the tour. Are you looking forward to putting your feet up this weekend?
I am looking forward to seeing my family, spending a bit of time with them. I will put my feet up for a bit. I don't like to be stood still for too long. So I'm sure I will do something. I've got a bit of work to catch up on, but yes, I probably will sit down and have a quiet drink, spend some time with the kids and the other half, and yeah, enjoy a bit of time with other people for the weekend.
I am honestly jealous of Matt for undertaking that journey. It's something that I've wanted to do for ages, which is go from north to south, an epic road trip, visiting garages along the way, finding out more about them. Maybe that's a feature or an idea for Auto Repair Focus going forwards. But congratulations to Matt. It was a success looking at the social media traction that campaign got. But ultimately, the success is measured by the interactivity with garages. And I'm really, really, really pleased to hear that the FixMyCar team did really, really well with that. So well done to them. And that's all we have time for in this episode of Auto Transmission. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to Matt and the FixMyCar team for taking part. Thanks to our regular newsreader. And don't forget, you can stay up to date with all the latest automotive aftermarket news at autorepairfocus.com. Follow us on social media, check out the channel on YouTube, and subscribe to Auto Transmission Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you listen. See you in the next episode.